Hey everyone, I want to talk all about the fear of being overwhelmed and the potential problems that this fear brings to the OCD and anxiety recovery journey, and also all the other problems the fear of being overwhelmed plays into your life and why it really hinders you from actually achieving anything substantial in your life, whether that is to be, to have 2 kids or to travel alone around the world or, start a new business or play a new instrument. And I'm going to talk all about how this fear really kind of intertwined in my own recovery process and why I see so many people around the world on social media, because social media is really the main culprit of this entire problem, because so many people are convinced about the fear of being overwhelmed and they're afraid if they're too overwhelmed, they can't do anything, etc. like that. So before I go any further, please subscribe, hit that like button, comment down below, let me know what you think, and then we can talk about it further. So it is really cold out here. I could see my breath. Probably one of the last videos I'll be doing outside in front of my door, just because it's literally freezing and there's a bunch of snow on the ground. I'm literally sitting on a blanket right now. I mean, you could see some of the snow in the background. So, but I thought it would be a good time to come out here and practice a little stoic techniques and do the video in the snow. So there's no secret when someone is going through OCD and anxiety recovery that it's going to be one of the most difficult things you're going to do in your life from a challenging perspective of changing symptoms. This goes far beyond just physical symptoms of anxiety. Many people will have chronic shame and chronic guilt, depersonalization and derealization, and a plethora of different symptoms that are going to wax and wane all throughout your journey. Most people will not have just one particular theme. They'll have many different themes. Maybe you have existential, sensory, motor, and harm OCD. Maybe you stay more in the moral range and you have religious OCD, harm OCD, P OCD, cheating OCD. Maybe you stay more in the sensory motor type and sensation realms like me, sensations and body dysmorphia and GAD and panic disorder. But that, there's no right or rhyme reason why, that's not the saying, but you know what I mean, why certain people will experience certain types of fears or not. There's a lot of backgrounds about cultural upbringing, belief systems that they were raised with, and everything else in between. So the biggest mistake that people are making right now is they're trying to perfect every aspect of their life. And nobody who's achieved anything substantial in their life, again, this is not just a monetary success. This is success in what anyone deems successful, whether that's to be, a better meditator, more patient, develop better skills when they're having conversations with people who disagree with them. All of this will bring feelings of being overwhelmed. And when you look at what's happening right now in the world, we have people who are obsessed with sleep. We're not just talking about OCD sufferers. We have people who think that you need 8 hours of sleep a night. We have people that think you need 7 hours of sleep every single night to be at your best. You don't. You could sleep 5.5, 6 hours a day for the rest of your life, and you'd be tired, and you wouldn't be optimal, but you could live until you're 100 years old doing that. You could more than likely live until you're 100 years old sleeping 4 hours and 45 minutes a day. I'm not saying you would enjoy it, and I'm not saying you wouldn't be really tired, but I do not think that it would kill you, not in the way that social media has convinced us. We know that because there's World War II veterans that have lived until 99, 101 years old, and they didn't sleep for all the PTSD when they came back. They never slept straight. So you have the perfectionistic world built around sleep. We work with this woman named Beth, the sleep holistic coach, and she said something that was incredible. She said the sleep industry is built a multi-billion-dollar industry based off of the fear of what will happen if you don't sleep. It's the same thing. Like, people are always like, you need to go to your primary care MD twice a year and get checkups. No, you don't. I haven't been to a primary MD in 6 years. 6, maybe one time in between them. I have family members who are like, that's so terrible. It's all fear-based. I'm not saying that you can't go to the medical doctor. I'm just using this as an example of this fear-based tactic that the world is basically perpetuated on, and these right or rhyme reasons where you have to do this and you can't do that, and if you don't do that, you're going to die. So people are always feeling very, very overwhelmed because they have so much information at their fingertips and they don't know who to listen to. And it's a very unfortunate scenario because the feeling, it's all about the feeling, because the feeling of being overwhelmed is so substantial. It's like you could feel the anxiety rising throughout your body. It really paralyzes people in a way, in their mind, where they think that they can't do anything or they don't want to take on any more tasks. Now, There's many different reasons why this fear is much more instilled than just telling people about being overwhelmed. So when you speak to people, this is something I've been talking about a lot, and I think it needs a lot of covering, so I'll be mentioning this and breaking it down. When you speak to people in YouTube videos with this very soft tone voice, it's really problematic for the person you're talking to and the person yourself. So if you're speaking to people like that all the time, it's probably not good. And the reason why is the world is not very compassionate and empathetic. The world is very abrupt, blunt. People are arrogant qualities. They can have mean qualities. They can be, the world doesn't cater to what we feel is a good joke or a bad joke. And what happens is the more you think that the world needs to be molded to you, it's why a lot of the people out there who speak in these softer tones have really big followings, is because people like to feel protected, and that word validated. And validated is a really wishy-washy word, because it plays directly into the mentality that you have to be treated like coddled all the time. And it's understandable why people do that, but it's also very important to realize that that's really problematic. When you come into OCD recovery, and whether it's for coaching or a webinar service, we talk to you like an adult, and we also speak to you and the realities of OCD. We show a lot of compassion and empathy. I know the journey better than anyone. I've done the journey myself. I have many different themes and many different fears and different anxiety symptoms, but I had to realize that I needed a lot of tough love. A lot of people are afraid of tough love because of the feelings that tough love brings. So you have to look at the behaviors that you're doing and asking yourself, what am I not engaging in because I'm afraid of experiencing a certain sensation? Am I afraid of not experiencing a feeling of confusion because I started a new job and I have a bunch of new tasks? This is a huge problem we have right now. I listen to a lot of podcasts talking about the decline of the workforce. And a lot of people are looking for particular perfect jobs. I see commercials where people say, I don't feel, again, validated. I don't feel that it's for me. I don't feel like I'm comfortable. I don't feel it's the right setting. I don't feel it's the right atmosphere. I don't feel the people are nice. That's just not how the world works. And I know it's really difficult to hear that because we've now been pushed this for about a decade, and it's only getting worse. And what I'm seeing is really concerning to me, because I'm seeing a bunch of people who believe that when they walk out of their door that the world needs to actually cater to exactly what they want. And I know this is so hard to hear, but the world just doesn't really care what we want. And I'm going to use myself. The world doesn't care if I like certain things. The world doesn't care if I don't like certain jokes. The world doesn't care if I don't like certain foods. A restaurant, is it going to be like, we don't care that you don't like this food. Just don't come here anymore. Other people do like this food. So you have to really look at why you have fear of being overwhelmed. And the fear of being overwhelmed really comes down to a couple things. The fear of not being able to handle the feeling of being overwhelmed, which is a fear approach. Am I going to be able to handle it? Can I handle my new kids? Am I going to handle my new job? What if I lose money? And everything in between. And the reason why you want to go for the core fear, because if you have a core fear of being overwhelmed, that can attack your family, your work, your relationships, the gym, and anything else in your life. It can prong out into all these different subcategories because you actually never went for the actual core fear, which is the fear of feeling overwhelmed. And then there's a bunch of avoidance behaviors that people aren't doing. Like I said, they're not going out there and living their lives. They're sitting at home playing video games all day. They're smoking weed all day. Now, again, I'm not here to tell you whether smoking weed or playing video games is good or bad. I mean, I live in Colorado. There's a marijuana store on every single corner. I can literally throw a stone and hit a marijuana store everywhere. I mean, there's hundreds of them. And, again, I just have a difficult time because I know there's so many people that really want to make some changes. And I know I was one of those people, but I didn't want to address what I needed to do to change. Sorry if I'm shivering a little bit. It just feels like it's getting colder. But being overwhelmed is just a sensation. It's just a sensation that feels really unfortunate, and you can learn to wear it. You can realize that it's not the end of the world if you feel overwhelmed. It's just an uncomfortable sensation. You can break it down with the books on the reading list, especially the first book. And then again, I know I've repeated it now 3 times, but you got to look at the things you're avoiding. Are you afraid of getting that new job? Are you afraid with ROCD of moving in with your partner because you're going to be overwhelmed? Do you not want to have a child? I was on a call the other day where the person said to me, and this is something I hear all the time. I'm going to wait for the right time to have a kid. I don't want to. I'm too anxious to have a child. I don't want the anxiety to pass over to the child and hurt the child, and all these different overwhelming sensations that people fear. I mean, anxiety in itself, physical symptoms of anxiety, whether it's blurry vision, heart palpitations, irritability, everything else in between. Those are overwhelming styles of sensations that people just don't like, especially, this is usually what the mistakes that all of you are making, and including I made. You start feeling overwhelmed. Maybe you're at work and your boss comes in and your boss says, hey, can you do this extra thing for me? And then you get overwhelmed. And then what happens is you're like, I can't do this. Then you blame the boss. You go, the boss is not looking after me. He's, not seeing if my self-care is good. And then what happens is you actually put your life into a box. What the best option is to take on the task as best as you can. And if you don't complete it on time, you don't complete it on time. But taking it in that approach is really, really important. So I really wanted to make this video because it's something that really held me back. So again, just to summarize, it's the fear of being overwhelmed, the sensation itself. Going towards that, not compulsively. You don't have to become an aerospace engineer and a skydiver and a deep sea submarine explorer all in one day. But there's a lot of things that if you want to, get things going in your life, you're going to have to feel quite uncomfortable. And the video I did the other day, it's not on the YouTube channel yet. It probably will be when this is posted. And it's called, 10 Ways to Kickstart Your Life. And I think that's really important. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Being overwhelmed was something that really afflicted me, especially with my work. If you want to see anything else on these particular topics, let me know. And even if it's not regarding this, just comment down below and let me know what you want to see, and we can cover all sorts of stuff like that. We have a lot of great webinars coming up. We're taking a couple weeks off for the holidays, so happy holidays, whatever you celebrate. And if you're interested in any of those services, please email info@ocdrecovery.com. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a great day.